It's Oklahoma Archery. Everything archery based out of Oklahoma for Oklahomans. Let's get it started.
Good evening, everybody. I'm David Bosca.
I'm Neil Cooley.
I am Greg Thompson. How's everybody doing?
Hey, we are doing good, sir. Real good. Boy, that just flowed like we knew what we were doing, didn't it?
You'll never know what take that was. It might have been the first, it might have been the 15th.
16th.
That's right. Love editing. Yeah, let's get back up where I can switch some stuff around here during the podcast. Neil, introduce our guest officially, and let's talk a little bit.
Well, we got Greg Thompson out of Meeker, Oklahoma, hot off his weekend of shooting. Greg was the men's open, or I guess it's known, but open setups, 50-yard champion of the Oklahoma Triple Crown. This was the second year that they'd done the Triple Crown. Little bit different 3D experience. So we wanted to get, I think last year we had Chad Hilburn on, and he'd won the Triple Crown last year, and then he went and won the Classic. So Greg, you've got some big shoes to fill this coming weekend in Coleman, Alabama, if you're going down there, because the last year we'd scheduled Chad to be on, and then we couldn't get it scheduled the week before he left, and then he went out and won the Classic too. So if it's any indication of prior events, I think winning the Triple Crown's pretty good warm up for the Classic at the ASA.
Well, I'm not going to be there, but thanks for the intro. I just want to say for anybody that's watching, Neil and David and a few other people are doing some great stuff for archery right now. These are historical events for Oklahoma. The ASA is growing, and there's just a lot of great stuff going on with archery. And so it's great to be on the podcast. I really appreciate you guys having me on. Thanks for the shout out for the win. I just went out and had fun and shot my bow with a couple of great shooters, Jake O'Connor, who came in third, and Dustin Leader, who had been gunning after me for the last 3 years. We'd been gunning after each other for the last 3 years, and he would always inch out with a win or come out with a wide margin win. So it was some good competition, and we just had a good time.
Cool. Before we get diving into the tournament itself and what you got coming, tell everyone about your bow setup.
Well, I shoot a PSD Supra X 37. It's rigged out with ball stabilizers, and it's got a Hamskea rest on it, and I shoot Victory VTAC 23 arrows.
Cool. What kind of release you go with?
I shoot with a knock to it, one of those John Dudley releases, and I forgot. I use Tyler Terry's Toad strings from Winterhawk Outfitters, so that's my setup.
Shout out to our buddy in Arizona. Tyler Terry makes a good set of strings.
Nice.
So tell everybody just out there, how's the Triple Crown different than the ASA? Like, I know we've gone over the differences before, but it's a little different format with the shoot down at the end.
Well, I shoot ASA, and I've never really shot a shoot down with the ASA or anything like that. But the Triple Crown, basically the rules are the same. But if you shoot an open setup in known, you're going to be shooting 50 yards. Whereas ASA has a bunch of different yard formats. I shoot K40 and ASA. So you're kind of lumped in there with a lot of great shooters. And you're competing against some semi-pros and some pros in the known classes if you're shooting an open setup. But it's exclusively for the state of Oklahoma, and it's in between a lot of the ASA qualifiers, so we get to have more archery throughout the year.
I know they'd originally done it when there weren't any qualifiers, and now that the schedule's always full of them, it makes a real interesting test case to say we can look at a state level if people like a trickle start, if people like less classes if people want to shoot down. So I'm a huge supporter of it just because it gives us the freedom to do anything different formatting 3D wise, and it gives us numbers to look at. So if everybody's out there is confused, they're like, why is the ASA guy promoting the Triple Crown? It's like, well, it's 3D archery. It's the same scoring. You get a chance to shoot at 14 rings. Um,
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, everything that kind of the ASA doesn't do, we get to look at in a vacuum and see what people like, what people don't like. So it's a pretty good hypothetical test case just to see what people will show up and do. So I'm all for it. I hope that, I know next year they're going to do 3 instead of 4, so it'll just be a Triple Crown. This year was 3 qualifiers and a championship. You had to make all of them for the shoot down. Next year will be only 3. The third will be the championship, and you can drop your lowest. So I know they're trying to kind of change things in real time to make it more of a accessible thing. Like if you can't make a weekend, you can still hit 2 out of 3 and be in it at the end. So they're trying new stuff, and it's just another way to, show people a different side of 3D archery. I mean, I know, some people don't get it. Some people don't like the trickle start. It's the same ranges. It's the same targets. It's the same people that you see. It's the same scoring rings. So a lot of it is similar enough that I think they're a lot of fun. We tried to live stream it I think we got like 48, 49 minutes in, and the phone just got too hot. So we try to live stream the shoot downs and get the arrow calls in there and get the people shooting, just because it's fun for regular amateurs to go shoot under pressure. I mean, tell us a little bit about what the shoot off is like.
It's a pretty good time. I guess I perform well under pressure. I'm usually the last one off the line shooting an indoor competition, and you look back and there's people watching you, and I feel like I'm the only guy in the room when I'm shooting my bow. But yeah, it was pretty fun. It was a little nerve-wracking. I felt some pressure there, but when you're standing there with people and then the people around you are supporters of archery, it's just a good time. But like you said, yeah, when we talk about trickle starts, I'm a huge fan of trickle starts. I have 3 kids. My schedule is all over the place, so I can go in and shoot my bow, go home on my own time. It's pretty cool. But it was Triple Crown was great this year.
What was some of the targets like? What kind of distances were you shooting at the known 50? Well, what stuck in your mind? Let's say.
I guess the two ranges that stuck in my mind were Haskell's and the Gun Club's ranges. Those are pretty technical, dark, pretty hard ranges, and we had some targets that were stretched out there to the full distance. I think one of them, it was, it may have been my rangefinder, but I think I ranged it at 51.5 and had to drop, a serious bomb on that target and try to just aim for the center 10, because that's when you start gunning for 12s at that point, you're hitting 8s or 5s. So it was Haskell's and the Gun Club's ranges were amazing. What were the I think we had Crowder Lake. What was the other the other qualifier at?
Crowder. And
okay.
Then the championship back at the Gun Club, so 4.
Yeah. So yeah, good technical ranges, good warm up for ASA qualifiers or the state. It was a great warm up for if you're going to Coleman. That was a pretty tough range, but I enjoyed it.
And it's not like something that you have to shoot at the 14s. They're just open and available. Like for people like me that are going to be in the amateur class for a while, I shot the whole series 2 years now, and I've never shot at a 14 ring. And people don't understand why you don't want to go for it. Well, it's a high risk, high reward, and if they ever pay me to shoot at them, I'll sure practice it. But I like to try to leave my arrows in the replaceable core. Most of those, anybody doesn't know, those Delta McKenzie's, there's not a single one that the 14 ring is in the replaceable core. So there's a reason that we don't normally shoot at them, but on a fun shoot with your buddies out there, it can make for a pretty interesting day.
Yeah, you're not going to catch me shooting at a 14. I thought about it for a second, and I think I think Jennifer may have shot at a 14 and hit it on the first Triple Crown qualifier, but and that was a 30-yard target for her. She shoots in the 30-yard class, and I think she shot and hit the 14. I told her she was crazy. I wasn't going to do that. I'm going to play it safe, and I'm going to shoot at 12s and hopefully, or shoot center 10s at the longer targets, and hopefully I make a mistake and hit a 12.
Did you shoot at any during the shoot down?
I just shot. I shot at some 12s. That's mainly what I was shooting at in the shoot down. I tried to shoot all 5 targets in the 12, and I think I hit 3 of them.
Okay. Didn't know if you felt like you were at any point behind to where you were like, oh, I got to look at this.
Well, I was 5 points behind going in, and I knew that I would, Dustin can shoot. So I knew that any point in time, if he lit it up with 12s and I wasn't holding my own, I was going to have to shoot at a 14 or 2 to try to have a high risk, high reward kind of situation. I believe Dustin hit an 8, and that gave me the ability to kind of get, in close with him. And, we finished it out. And of course I didn't know where the score was. I think at one point I yelled at Haskell where we hadn't scored, and he goes, we're right there. I'm not telling you. So I said, all right, I'll just keep trying to shoot good. And he just basically said, he just kind of said, after I asked him, where the score was, he said, just shoot your bow really well. So I think that's basically what he said. But
it's hard to run the numbers in real time. We're working with Scott Booth down on the Raising an Archer podcast. He's going to try and get us rigged up with a couple of live cameras and a connection cord that'll run from the laptop. And in his program that he's designed, there'll be live scoring that you can display on the screen. So every year we're trying to get it just a little bit closer to your competition archery media level of broadcast. But right now, just a cell phone and a pad of paper, it's kind of tricky to pull it off. But we're going to try to get it to where it runs as smooth and efficient as we can. And the people that coordinate the Triple Crown have been fantastic at changing stuff up on the fly when they have to. And, there's still a lot less classes, but they will add one. I think they had like a super senior pins this year that they'd added. And, so there's a lot less classes. The idea is that, we're shooting for a buckle, we're shooting for money payouts. The payout pot should be bigger if there's more people. And it gives you the chance as an amateur to shoot against pros. I mean, you get to shoot against people that do this for, I'm not going to say do it for a living, but people that bring home a pretty good payday when they have a good day shooting their bow. So
yeah.
Gives you a chance to stack up against all of them. I know it's hard to schedule with the pros because they're so busy, but we always have I think we had 6 or 7 pros show up at different points of the Triple Crown. So it is something that's gaining some good momentum. The pros are coming out, the amateurs, the families. We had a whole bunch of kids on the podium there at the gun club. So they're doing a lot of good stuff, and we want to make sure it's accessible to everybody out there, just to say, hey, try a different kind of 3D. It's not all a one size fits all kind of operation.
Yeah, it's I think I love seeing the kids win. I'm pretty indifferent about, I like going out and having a good time shooting my bow. We call Carlos Arriaga, and we ask him to come shoot with us when we do a trickle start. I like kind of hanging with him. And, Jennifer likes kind of razzing him and having a good time with him. We joke around. He's always got something crazy to say, and I love hearing his stories and his jokes. Seeing archery grow, the way the response, with ASA, we had 17 qualifiers, right? And then you take Triple Crown, there's 20 archery events right there aside of anything that's going on with OSAA. This year, it's completely amazing. How many people we have show up at these ASA qualifiers? 220 as opposed to less than 100 last year. So I think we're seeing, with all these events that are going on, we're seeing the history of archery in Oklahoma you guys are making a mark in the history of archery in Oklahoma. And I think, it gives the kids a place to be able to shoot their bows in multiple locations across the state. It's amazing.
Man, we're all about it. It's been a good year of growth. Do we have time for a segue? We got time. We put an announcement out yesterday on the Facebook page, and full credit goes to Kentucky's ASA. They had money left over at the end of the year, and they said if there's any junior eagle, or youth shooters that are going to Coleman, we're going to go ahead and pay their registration for that. So there's only, I think, a handful. I think we'd had 6 or 7 of them reach out. So shout out to Kentucky for that idea. I saw that on their page, and I said, we got money left over. We ought to do that too. What that turned into over the past 24 hours is we'd had some private donors reach out to us and say, we want to sponsor a full trip for one of our kids that had reached out and said, hey, I'm going to Coleman. So we're going to do a little quick drawing real quick. I've got all the kids that had reached out, not just per family, it's per individual kid that had it. So, some people have siblings they take on there. So we've got them all right here in a big bucket, and we want to draw out. We are going to be giving $500 out for one family from the Oklahoma ASA with a junior eagle, or youth shooter to go to Coleman. So we're going to draw one of those real quick here. If I can get my hand in the jar. Come on. All right. Going to Coleman. $500 from the Oklahoma ASA. Going to Zane McSorley.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Zane. You have to hit every 12 when you go to Coleman now. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You have to hit every 12, and that's what you have to do. We're relying on you to do something great.
Somebody's got to go wreck it from Oklahoma. I mean, it was Hilburn last year, just coming out and winning the whole thing. I know they just got back from their S3DA Nationals and Outdoor Target Nationals up in Colorado. Shout out to Andrea and all the Twisted Arrow kids. I think they put a whole bunch of them on the podium, and when they tallied the scores per team, I think they ended up as national champions. So if y'all haven't seen what the Twisted Arrow youth team out of Enid area is doing, you guys really need to check them out. I think they took like 10 or 12 kids up there, and they shot in the fields, they shot up the mountain, they shot down the mountain. So shout out to them. We'll have to reach out to Zane and his family or later on today. I know it's kind of a last minute thing, but we'd had some people reach out and say we want to give as much back as we can to the younger archers in our organization that they're traveling the country shooting their bows. So we wanted to try to give back a little bit there. So we'll do that announcement and tag them down in the comments when we publish this.
Cool. I think that is awesome. And Zane, I think that'll be fun. You'll have a fun trip and buy a lot of ice cream.
Is that what Coleman's known for?
Usually rain. Rain's what it's known for. It's gonna rain. It's gonna be a little rainy this week too. So hope we didn't sponsor somebody to drive into the middle of a rainstorm, but it'll knock the heat down. It's supposed to rain there, so it'll probably be muggy. But the only problem in Coleman is they have parking on this big beautiful grass field, and the only rule in Coleman is don't tear the grass up. So when it rains and floods, they don't let you park on the grass, and that they have to shuttle people in. Was how they fixed it last year. On the fly, zero notice. So hats off to the ASA at the national level for making changes like that on the fly.
So what all do they got going down there? Is there going to be their practice days? Is there going to be a team shoot? Do they do the same thing at the Coleman as they do the rest of the qualifiers?
Mm-hmm. Known elite, GPO, known bonus, whatever it's called. Open the whole time. Team shoot on Thursday, Friday option, rounds on Saturday, Sunday. So it'll be the whole thing if it doesn't get rained out.
And so, do you have meetings Saturday with the federation? What do you got going to
Friday.
bring back to Oklahoma?
Directors meeting Friday. hope to talk about some stuff. They haven't sent a meeting agenda yet. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. We should have dates for 2025. So on the way back, I'll be reaching out to everybody to get their preferred qualifier dates in before our September 14th meeting. I'll try to have a rough draft of where everybody wants to be on the schedule. That's if they drop pro-am dates. We like to schedule around those, not on top of those. And beyond that, rule changes they might discuss, but they usually don't come out till December. So really just fill the schedule up, get everybody excited about it, and take all the extra time that we didn't necessarily have last year, started in November. So it's a blessing to have 2.5, 3 months extra to put 2025 together this year.
Yeah. Yeah. It absolutely gives you a little bit of breather room and to make plans to do stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, you never know when there's going to be a new class. Like they came up with the 145 class last year, and that was huge this year. So just seeing them react in real time to, what archers need and where they want to compete and how they want to do it, seeing those changes take off after just a single year. Like 145 in Oklahoma was probably the biggest class across.
Huge. Yeah.
It was huge. I mean, and we had killers in there. We've got some of the winners, and some of the people that did good are moving out and some are staying. And, it's just a stepping stone as to wherever you want to be on your archery journey. But if you had a fast bow with a slider sight and no mag, hunting setup, a tack bow, shot 3D experience bow, before the 145 class, there really wasn't a place in the ASA for them to come compete with that setup. And if you give them a class to where they can, participate, they're going to come join. They're going to come have fun. They're going to come shoot their bow. So it's just good to see those changes be, taken advantage of. So we never know. And it could be something less awesome next year. It might be something we have to work around, but at least we've got time to, schedule it and get everybody on the same page, because you can tell them to shoot the whole 20 targets in clown shoes. If you let them know and you bring them clown shoes, they'll probably do it and won't complain. If you don't tell them ahead of time, they're like, well, I didn't bring the right stuff. Well, then you didn't prepare them enough. You didn't let them know. So,
well, about the clown shoes, are they going to make those like the crispy brand that everybody's wearing these days?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I see you guys. Those things are getting popular with the archery community.
Yeah, our Oklahoma foam shooters do tend to prefer the crispy footwear. So I got hooked on a set from Josh Jacobson. Somehow him and I have the same size foot, and man, they're worth every bit of the money. I have been 33 days at qualifiers, counting state for different our state and then 3 other states championships and all the qualifiers. Yeah, I was on them for 35 days this year and never had a complaint.
Okay, what am I missing? What are you calling a crispy shoe? I mean, come on.
It's a brand.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a brand of boot. They've got low arch, high arch, short ones, tall ones, light ones, heavy ones, you name it. They're a little on the pricey side. They might be upwards of $300.
$9,000 for a pair of boots.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I think he got them on sale for $225, and I got them from him for $200. So I didn't spend the $300 and $350 on them. But everybody that does says they're pretty much worth the money. They've got a break-in sole that when you wear it around for a little while, and when your foot starts kind of getting hot spots on it, that's where you throw the intro pad out and you go get you some either low arch or high arch or whatever you prefer. So you got a little bit of time on the regular ones, and then you pop those out whenever your feet start hurting. It's like a break-in sole. So it's supposed to let you know what your foot needs. I'm like, all right, whatever. I just put some Dr. Scholl's in it and go on down the road.
I need that for releases.
Oh yeah.
Shoot. Well, what else we got going, gentlemen?
I just want to pick Greg's brain on archery. Let him know what's the shot process like. Well, how'd you manage the nerves shooting under pressure?
I don't know. I'm the worst to talk about that, but I will say, I just look at what I want to hit and I just pull, and somehow the release goes off. Now I get a little punchy every now and then, and I may have done it, if I go back and look at the video or some of the videos that my wife Jennifer took, I may have gotten a little punchy on it, but whatever I did seemed to work. So, but yeah, typically my shot process is I try to slow everything down, and I try to just pull through my shot and execute my release at the same time. Start to squeeze a little bit until the bow goes off. I've had Jennifer or other people take videos, and I don't like watching them because I think it looks weird, but it gives me a reference on what I'm doing right or wrong. But yeah, just look at what I'm aiming at through my peep sight and let it fly. It's going to land where it lands. I mean, I think back in the day when I first met Neil, the best advice he gave me was, on a qualifier, however many targets there are, if there's 20 targets, make sure you have 20 clean breaks. And so I think that first year I shot ASA, I was all over the place. And I said, well, I had 15 clean breaks, but it looks like I had about 5.
His lens setup last year, anybody that didn't see it, was a frosted over lens with a clear center. So everybody out here shooting a 10 or a 15,000th pin and different lights, and Greg's out here with a frosted over whole glass and a clear center, just like you'd shoot for field or indoor. And he's like, man, I can't see nothing. And I looked at his lens. I was like, what's all over it? He goes, that's etching. It's etching on the glass.
It's it's a frosty donut sticker.
Yeah, that was.
And then you can see through that. So if I had to lead off, I would have to follow. The back of the leg is typically where you line your 12 up. I had to follow it up and say, okay, there's 5 inches between here and here. I'm going to go another inch and try to hit the center 10. If there was an arrow for me to aim at, I could stick it right in the middle of that little circle and try to hit it, or hit in the vicinity of that arrow. But I had to change that up. Yeah, that was a no-go. Now for NFAA, like field archery, shooting spots, shooting indoor and stuff like that, I kind of do the opposite of Chris Sanders. Chris Sanders has got a big old dot that he covers the target with. He eclipses it. I like to be able to see the X, so I put the donut on there and I look right through it and look at the X. I use that for field and indoor, but ASA, I got a 10,000s pin that's on my tack lights turned up to 15 all the time.
Blue, green,
blue.
There you go.
Yeah. Whatever color they issued me. I mean, if it was black light, that's probably what I would have. But just shoot it, get used to it, learn my bow, a little bit more about my bow every day I shoot it, and just make sure I try to shoot good.
Yeah, this is your first year out with this bow, right? You're a couple months into having the Super X.
Yeah, I bought it back in. I got on this. I got on the PSE couple of years ago. I shot the RTX at that trail shoot that you and I went to, and then when they came out with the X, I was like, I'm not going to buy one of those. And then I bought one. And then I bought another one, and yeah, it's such a money pit, but I love it. But yeah, I got used to the X, and it shoots good. I mean, I'll shoot it until they come out with another Super X. This is a 3-year plan for me. That's what I tell Jennifer anyway.
I get it. Yesterday was my birthday, and last night I was sitting there and I told Wilma, I says, I bought myself a birthday present. She says, what kind of bow did you buy?
Did you buy a bow?
No, I bought a stabilizer. The last time I mentioned something like that, her response was only, well, what color is it? I mean, she's assuming that I'm just going to buy a bow. That's not nice.
Well, you're still shooting this. Are you still shooting the Citation?
Yes, I still got the white Citation.
See, that's the thing, is like they always say that you gotta be careful of the guy that shoots the same bow for everything.
Yep.
Or that sticks with the same bow.
One bow, one release. Fear that guy. But there's the difference I think we should make distinction-wise. Dave's never had a bad day with his bow that he has and went and bought a new bow. Dave's had good days with his bow and said, maybe I'll try it and it'll be better. If I don't like it, I know here. So there's that level of desperation, and I've given up on this bow. The new one has to, and you have that hope in your mind that it's going to fix your problems. I don't think Dave's ever been in that boat where he's expecting the bow to do something that he's not doing. So there's a difference out there in everybody buying a new bow thinking it's going to solve your target panic and your bad shoulder and the 6 inches between your ears. It's not going to change any of that. He just likes to tinker. He wants to see if it's worth, what everyone's talking about. And
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm thinking of tinkering with rest right now.
yeah,
I am absolutely fascinated with the old style lizard tongue. I am really thinking about taking my drop away off and trying a lizard tongue. So I don't know, but I've been reading on it.
You can just take the rip cord off of it, and you've got one if you're shooting a Hamsky.
Yeah, it's not exactly the same. I'm thinking, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I've tried it. I mean, I've tried everything under the sun. I've called Neil with some crazy ideas, man.
Dude, I'm with you.
I've seen some really good scores shot with a blade this year. I've seen Noah Coyle shot a blade. He's a young feller in K45, shot like 44 up in Metropolis. Another local kid who's my buddy, William Alterson. He shoots a blade. It's not 100% Hamsky dropaways out there. I'd say it's about 90% Hamsky dropaways and 10 of them shooting the old blade. But if it works for indoor and you can tune it and you got good clearance, man, I'd try it. I mean, I know you got 3 and 4 and 6 fletch to work with, so grab the 3 fletches. If anybody out there wants to go to a blade, don't start with a 4 fletch. Please spend your time tuning a blade with a 3 fletch only. Do not try it with a 4 fletch. I had to explain that once to my buddy. Shout out to Moses. We're like, you could line it up really perfect on a big shaft with a little vein and get clearance. But he's like, what do you mean I can't shoot 4 fletch with a blade? I'm like, I don't know that it's a rule, but no one's ever pulled it off. So,
you can do the 115 degree on the Bitzenberger. It has the 4 fletch
X-wing look.
Yeah, that's for a blade, right?
I've never used it.
I've used it, and yes, that should work. Yeah, I got no difference in the way they flew. They flew just fine. Yeah.
I mean, we saw David Griffin shooting a 2 fletch Super Drive 23 out to 40-something yards, and he goes, that didn't change anything. He's got the DCA wings on the back and 3 fletch missing one. Shoots it all the time. Hits just with the others. So they hang the back. I'm like, don't shoot that. It's got 2 veins. He goes, I know. There it went.
Yeah, Travis Keith shoots a blade, I think.
Travis Keith knows how to shoot, man. Bow.
Yeah, I've been studying them. I've been studying them. I've got to get. If I'm going to do it, I need to do it now while I've got a lot of time before, because I'm definitely going to have to revein arrows. So yeah,
I've tried to. I've tried to go to when I've had time, I've tried to go to a blade and I've gotten frustrated. But I think it's just a learning curve, trying to figure out, how many degrees, I think the sweet spot is probably between 30 and 35 degrees, and trying to figure out, and, it's basically a leaf spring that stabilizes your arrow all the way, through the process. And I think just because I just probably didn't want to learn anything new. So, that's I got tired of reading about it. So I tried it and I think I got close, but I just couldn't get right there with it. But the guys who shoot blades, man, once they figure it out, they're pretty much like, hey, I just adjusted it 1 degree. Now it's grouping real tight. And I'm like, I can't figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. I would like to try it. I'm studying the different rests right now to see which ones I want to go with, but I'm definitely, I'm going to be studying and quizzing brains that I trust that'll feed me the right information to what I feel would work on these super heavy aluminum arrows I'm shooting, because shooting an indoor carbon is going to be different than shooting these indoor aluminums. So I need to talk to the people there and to get me a starting block of where I need to be.
That Freak Show rest looks like an awesome rest.
The Freak Show, they've got the quick detach interchangeable to go from skinny to fat arrows, and then I think it comes.
Yeah.
You were going to try the big overdraw, weren't you? Like the one that's like.
I believe it or not, I'm stuck between that one and the new QDI one. That's interchangeable rest.
There you go.
Because it has so many features on it. It's also crazy to think about. But yeah, I'm looking at both.
People don't understand why you go from a $150 blade rest to a $350 blade rest, and it's like, well, you can buy one attachment and different blades for it, switch between your different arrows and shoot one bow year round. And it takes those micro tune up, down, left, right off the attachment block, and it just remount on there. So you can shoot one bow, one draw length, one peep height universally all year long, shoot your fat arrows all summer, throw the skinnies on for field, and then throw the fat arrows rest back on for indoor season. I mean,
yeah. And I will admit right now, from the outside looking in, a selling point of the I'll get it out in a couple hours. The QDI one is the blade, when it goes into the mount, it's got a wedge system, and so it's never going to be coming off crooked. It always remounts exactly in the same plane, to where, like when I had freak shows years ago, man, sometimes it would kind of swivel, and man, it completely throw the tune off and left and rights. And so I am leaning a little bit more towards the other. I know that now they've got a different setup on the freaks, but I'm still playing in my head. I haven't went shopping. I'm trying to figure out if it's something I want to play with, and I got some questions to ask to other people first. Yeah.
Yeah, I was always wondering if Hamsky would come out with like an interchangeable, modulated rest like that, to where you can change your rest on the fly and not mess your tune up. Shoot the same bow. I would love to shoot the same bow for everything, but then, I got out my PSE Super X with the SE2 cam, because I shoot the EM2 for 3D. It seems like it's the more aggressive cam is better to shoot for 3D, and I realize why I have two bows now. But if I was going to settle on one bow, I'd like to have some kind of interchangeable spot on the rest.
I reached out to Hamsky probably 3 and 4 and 5 times over the course of 2 years. Hey, what's new? Are you going to ever come out with it? And every time it's like, no, we don't have. We're studied that, but we haven't done that. No, we've studied that. But man, yeah, I'm with you. I wish they'd make a move, because that's the reason I'm looking at it. Is if I want to shoot my 23s, I've got to make a complete change. And I hate shooting 23s, and because here in Oklahoma we get 2 indoor tournaments with 23s. So do you want to completely retune, or just shoot them as you get your 27s? And they're not perfect. They don't fly exactly the same. So yeah, I'd really like to have something for what you're talking about, Greg. I'm with you.
You could always take those 23s outside and shoot a bunch of 3D, Dave.
I shoot that 23s is what I shot for the outdoor tournaments, and that's actually what I'm going to be shooting for the State 900. Yeah. Nice poke, but I got you.
I think I'm shooting. Let's see. We have the outdoor tournament coming up for OSAA. I think I'll be shooting my VAPs.
Yeah.
I'll be shooting my skinnies if I get it. If I get them all dialed in, it'll be the skinnies for sure.
You shoot those biblical arrows, right? You shoot those Revelations.
No, the Revelations are out, man. They got benched and traded off for some 350 spine rip TKOs. I traded 2 dozen of those away, and I got 2 dozen rips and 2 dozen 25s. So traded 2 dozen arrows for 4 dozen. And I think
it sounds like a pretty good deal.
I've stripped them and fletched them, and one at a time. And here's just acetoning the wraps off of them. Shout out to Scott Shields for putting wraps on my 25s. Those are coming off, and here's where they all end up in a
that's right
small acetone jar at the bottom. So we're all good. The only good place to see a wrap is at the bottom of the acetone. Don't let me see one on my arrows. Put weight on the wrong end of them. Goofy. But you can find them a lot easier when you got a nice white wrap on them. Neon green veins. They sure stick out of the leaves. pretty good. So
I've shot wraps a few times. I mean, if I needed to put some weight in the back.
Yeah, I've never done wraps ever. I've always just shot the vanes. If I needed more weight, I'll add vanes.
Dave's added some veins. 6 fletch all the way.
I've done that for a couple of years there. Won a lot of tournaments with them, so I can't complain.
6 fletch?
I've paid somebody to take Josh Jacobson's logo and change it to 6 fletch archery for a knockoff sticker.
I wonder if that guy ever 3 fletches.
He does. He did. He was trying 27s and had just a little bit too much weight on him, and he liked the way they flew too. I was like, don't worry about it. If it flies good, roll with it.
He's gonna have to change his name.
But yeah, I still got some 6 fletch 27s. I looked at them the other day. They were cut a little short. They were for, I think, that Perform X bow I had, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember if I shot them. No, I did shoot them on this snow camo, the white bow. I did shoot them on the snow camo bow I had, because they were the low profile Bonning Zen vanes. That's about the only ones I could get to clear. Yeah.
So how are you? I saw a picture of your bow yesterday that Neil posted, and it said "Happy Birthday, Dave." I meant to say "Happy Birthday," but I can't help from being a goofball, and I said, "Man, that bow looks barbecued." kind of giving a little plug to your world famous, the best barbecue that I've ever eaten.
Thank you.
10 miles down the road, man. That's some good barbecue. But I want to know why you took that bow apart.
Well, I haven't taken it apart recently. That had to be an old picture. Yeah.
We scrolled all the way back to 2023 to find that photo, and that was the first one I'd had since I switched cell phones. And I was looking for the one of you shooting your old ProTech in the white short shorts from 1995.
Golly, yeah. I had the red, white, and blue shirt on.
Yep. I was looking for that photo, but as far as I could go back was you tearing your bow down right before some tournament. I don't remember what tournament was in December of 23. I think it might have been
Rushmore Rumble, probably.
Yeah, Rumble.
The bow I've got, Greg, doesn't have their 220 shim system. So to move the cams left and right, you have to completely take it apart. And I was struggling getting it to tune right. So literally, I would tear that bow down 3 times a day, do everything, and then go shoot that weekend and tear it back down Monday. I used to do that, trying to find that sweet spot with the pressure point in my hand. That's what I was really, really working for. And I hate that guy. And that's the tunability is the reason why I tried that red Bowtech. My gosh, I just not having to tear a bow down made my day. I was like, oh my gosh. And I would sit and do a 1/8 of a turn, 16th turn, 1/4 of a turn on the cams, just to bump them and everything. And I realized that I might wear these, I might wear that out moving it as much as I was moving it, but I found it where I liked it. But I do have the 220. I had the 220. I did have a Super X I tried all summer long, and I actually shipped that last week to a guy in Alaska. So now I'm back to just the white bow. Always going back to that.
You just wanted to make sure it was going to be shot for indoor, didn't you? Had to be indoor if it's in Alaska. No, I think there's ASA up there. I don't know. I know they're in Hawaii.
Yeah, I don't know. It was out of the blue. A mutual friend knew I was going to be selling it after state because I had it set up for my 23s. And Josh Jacobson, put him in touch with me. Says, I don't have one. He has one. He might be selling, might not. We don't know. And my thing is just like what Josh said. When you got a buyer, you better take it. I mean, so I took it. It was about 4 weeks earlier than I had planned on, but I'm just fine. I'll sell it and go on down the road. So I don't know if I'll look at anything new this year. But more than likely, I'll definitely stick with the white bow all indoor. Yeah.
So yeah, I
So
like the
he
Super X.
That is
mean,
at 44 minutes and 35 seconds of this podcast saying that I'm sticking with the white bow.
So yeah, that's kind of like Josh Jacobson saying that he's going to stick with the same release for a week.
Wow, he just categorized me.
I'm out of
I'm
this.
just joking. I've
Yeah.
seen you shoot that. I think I've seen you shoot that bow since I've known you. And
Yeah.
the first time I met you, I brought a bow in on a really cold Sunday to H&H, and you helped me kind of get some stuff straightened out. That's the first time I met you. And then the second time, you were shooting that same bow, and my wife came up to you and asked you about why you had your
Okay.
your glasses lens frosted,
Yep.
and you were shooting that bow then, and it's been maybe 2021.
Yep.
You know, that's right when I tried to start getting into target archery. But yeah, I've seen you go back to that thing. I've seen you shoot the Bowtech, but then I've seen you show up, you know, at a OSAA tournament with the white bow, and I would say that, I mean, I see some guys out there shooting some older bows, and you wonder, like, why hadn't he bought a new bow? And then you see him go out there and shoot them, and man, they're lights out with them because they've learned it. They've gotten satisfied with not having a new gadget. That's where I'm trying to get, you know.
Well, this one fits me. What's crazy is I was that way. I tried a TRX 40 for about 2 months. A Matthews bow. I just wanted to see what the feel of a parallel limb. These PSEs have never had that much of a parallel limb. They're all pretty well up and down or just laid back some. And I just wanted to see what the shot felt like when it went off, to have it go this way instead of this way. And so I bought one, and I could just never get the draw length right. It just wasn't to my length that I needed. And we were 2.5 months waiting on a module to even get close. And then we had to cable it to get it even closer. And I shot it 2 months, and then, okay, I literally laid it down, picked up that old red Perform X, and went out that very next weekend. It just fit me. The PSE just fit me in the way it shot. Set a new state record at OSAA up at Dewey
Air Shop.
Yeah.
Shout out to Miles and Kelly.
Yes.
Yeah,
Greg went up there that year too. Greg went up there and popped him a 300 with how many?
I shot my first 300 up there.
Congratulations. Yes.
Yeah, I saw that same day I got to see Chris Sanders shoot a 60X. Yeah, I think that he said that was his first one in competition.
Oh, nice. That's always good to get that.
A lot of awesome stuff happened at that event that up in Dewey. Yeah, I mean, I like the Super X. I had a Citation. I had a Dominator Duo. I probably had every other target bow that's out there, but the Super X seems like it reminds me of like a cross between the Super RTX and maybe like a Dominator Duo, but it's not a shoot through riser. Just the way it. But what you were saying about the shooting a parallel limb bow, I would rather shoot for target a non-parallel limb bow, because it feels. I feel like, you know, even though you could take it, for me, you could take 21 pounds of holding weight on the back wall with a parallel limb bow, and with a non-parallel limb bow, it feels absolutely different. And I like the kind of resistance that I get from that. I feel like it keeps me honest up front with my bow arm, and it gives me a little bit more confidence in being able to pull through my shot. It feels more stable to me. I'm not plugging anything. I'm just saying that's what works for me.
Absolutely. And that's what archery is. And that's why there's so many great manufacturers out there with so many different style bows. Is there's bows that fit different people different ways, and it's all in how they do their shot. Just exactly what you're talking about. My shot is totally different than yours and anybody else, but it's mine, and I feel like I have found what makes my shot work for me, and it's this bow. And I did consider the Duo whenever I got this Super X this spring. But I've got a shoot through riser. I wanted to go back and try an open cage riser, deflex, just like what I've got. And, I just could never make it feel like I was home. Every time I picked it up, it felt like I had to retrain, rethink, something my shot. And I loved the angle they had of that grip, but I could never make it mine. So, if they do that duo again, or if they change something, who knows what they're going to do. I would consider looking at it, and I'd hope someone local would have one to where I could feel it and not have to buy it. But I'm pretty well done, I think, trying to find stuff. I'm trying to fine tune what I got because I know it works.
Well, I had to give Josh Jacobson a hard time.
Well, he deserves it. If you know him, he deserves it. And he's the kind that can take it because, as well as I do, he is trying everything to find what fits him, just like what we was talking about. And I think everybody strives for that. And that's what it's about. Yeah.
I mean, it's cool to have new gadgets too.
Well, I think that's why we buy cars and stuff all the time. I mean, we want the newest of the newest car. I mean, if we didn't, we'd still be popping wing windows open on the side of the car.
I don't know. I went the opposite direction on that one last year and bought an older car and fixed it.
Okay.
The 7.3 Excursion. I still need to get you some vinyl on that, bud. I haven't forgot about you.
Yeah. I'll put it on there. It's got enough window space in the back. It can be a driving billboard.
I was gonna say it's pretty flashy looking. I would say definitely overcompensating for something.
That's the third time I've been left speechless this week.
And we got
it's
it
overcompensating for having a car low to the ground for most of my life.
Yeah, this thing looks like you could pile in it, drive up over the top of a mountain, drive down, and it's all there and then some.
Well, I got it, to haul the family around, but now that I can try, it's got 429,000 miles on it, and it was a single owner. A buddy of mine had it, and I told Neil when I first got it, I was like, hey, when I can trust this vehicle, because I pretty much put a lot of new stuff on it. I think the only thing that's still existing that's old is the engine. I'll replace just about everything on it. When I can trust this thing to go the distance, I can load this thing full of people and we can go, and to archery events or whatever. But I had to drive it for a while.
Do you do your own mechanic work, or you run out there to Dale Smith and let him do stuff?
I do most of my own stuff. There's a local guy named Brandon Lowe. He's got an exhaust shop called Belo's Exhaust Shop. And he's out here on Highway 62 in Meeker, and he's a Ford guy, and he sourced all the parts, and so we axle swapped it. It's a 2003. We put 2008 axles on it, the beefier axles, and instead of having leaf springs in the front, it's got coils. But yeah, the other stuff, I do my own stuff. I got a shop back here in the backyard, and I've got most every tool that you can think of. Between me and my dad, we have pretty much any tool you can think of to do the job.
Cool. Well, Neil, what do we got going? What else? You want to hit on? So far, the only thing that we know of in the Olympics is Korea hasn't lost a step.
Yeah. We watched the women's team yesterday. That was a heartbreaker in the women's team. I just watched Catalina Noriega won her first match and I think lost her second after being up. So I'm waiting for the rest of the men's and women's singles, and then the men's team, we don't have anything. So rooting on Brady and Casey, everybody that's still in it. Been watching those. Got up put it on at 5 a.m. today, put it on at like 7 a.m. yesterday. So trying to watch as much live as I can. I'm not going to booger my sleep schedule up on it. But a couple of things coming up. We got the Classic this week. If you're staying home, Back 80 Bow Shooters is having their their first weekend of the month, Back 80 out in Cherokee. 10th and 11th is the OSA A-State Broadhead. That's at Trosper. 17th and 18th, you've got 4 shoots coming up. You've got the Wagner Marked 3D. That's Saturday only, August 17th. Pawnee Bow Range OTB shoot, trad only. I think that means all recurve people, so no compound people on that. 17th and 18th at Trosper is their triple threat. That's 8 Deerman's target, 8 IBO, and 8 ASA. I think that's the 2nd or 3rd year they've done it.
Oh, nice.
And then the 17th only is Choctaw Archery's Bow Hunters Festival. Hunting only setups, 2-man blind draw teams, 20 targets, $30 individual entry fee, 50% payback, trickle start, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., top 5 teams in shoot off. No pros can be drawn together for a team, all known distance. So August is looking pretty booked until we get to the last weekend, or the 22nd to the 25th be the Yankton Outdoor National Target and Field. Also a deadline out there, everybody just want to make aware of. And we're going to get you some more details on this. The bowhuntingleague.com. We put a video out of our buddy Brandon with his monster deer. Got a free bow from Okie Bow Hunters. Ben reached out, wanted me to let everybody know that the August 31st deadline to sign up for free. It's bowhuntingleague.com. Free sign up. If you have, they're giving out prizes for most does shot, biggest buck, most team inches, everything you could think about. If you're going to get on a team and you're going to be hunting whitetail this fall, definitely check out what they're doing at bowhuntingleague.com, just because you don't know if you're going to shoot your biggest deer ever. But if you do, you could get entered in to win some really, really cool prizes from these shops. And we'll have a little bit more info coming up in the next couple of episodes, but just put a bug in everybody's ear. August 31st is the deadline to get signed up for bowhuntingleague.com. So we'll fill you in on some more of that stuff. But like you say, if you go back and look at our podcast, we've got Brandon on there. We've got pictures of this just absolutely monster deer. I think it went like 206 inches, and he said it broke off another 20. So, shot a monster deer and then getting a free bow on top of it. Like what? It's a zero risk free non-commitment kind of thing. So hop in on that. We'll get you some more details, and that's kind of everywhere. We'll be in Coleman. We're leaving tomorrow, Wednesday through Sunday, to get rained on. And after that, we maybe kick our feet up a little bit, get ready for whitetail season.
All right, Greg, you got anything you want to throw out there? Any sponsors or anybody you want to chat with?
I think my only sponsor is Shawnee Dental.
Cool.
Also, to add to the 17th of August event at Choctaw Archery, Haskell said he was going to try to get a bunch of local pros and pros in the surrounding states out. He said it's for the kids.
10 to 11 a.m. is Meet the Pros, I believe he said.
Yeah, Haskell is all about, continuing on this legacy of archery, handing this over to the younger people, because I'm in my 40s. I think he's in his late 40s. We're not going to be shooting our bows forever. We got to have somebody to carry on this sport. So he's all about trying to get the kids involved. And, just like Bryn had the young kids archery camp back in the summer, we've got a couple of guys championing, youth in archery. So, that's the reason why he's got the pros out. They're going to sign autographs and all that kind of stuff. Dave, as far as sponsors go, I pretty much I'm with Boss Stabilizers. Carl Stanley's a great guy. And then I dropped the last bowstring company that I was with to go and buy Tyler Terry's Toad bowstrings. They are the real deal.
Cool.
So wanted to give him a plug. Other than that, I might put a Triple C Archery sticker on my truck if the guy that's involved with Triple C is nice to me.
Yeah.
I heard that guy's weird.
Real weird.
Yeah. But
he
he's consistent.
He is a road tripper, though, when it comes to going to concerts and stuff.
Oh, yeah. He's Greg, everybody out there. Greg got me hooked on Billy Strings. He said, we're going to a bluegrass festival. Billy Strings at the BOK. And I'm like, okay, bluegrass. I'll wear my cowboy boots and jeans and a button down. Thought I'd be in place. And it was nothing but dreadlocks and
Tie-dye shirts.
Oh yeah. I thought this was country and western, not the hippies of the 60s and 70s. So I miss
Yeah.
I miss that.
Well, not to get off the archery thing, but man, the first time I ever saw Billy String was he opened at Lollapalooza for Metallica. So I took my then 73-year-old dad to see his first Metallica concert, and Billy Strings opened. And I think my dad talked about Billy Strings more than he talked about seeing Metallica, which was the purpose for why we went to Chicago to see Lollapalooza anyway. But anyway, that's beside the point.
It's crazy. I haven't been to a lot of concerts, 6 or 8, 10, but I'm going to tell you, there was one I went to, and it was a George Strait headline, but Tanya Tucker opened for him, and I would rather go watch her over him any other time. She put on a show.
I bet the people behind you didn't see nothing. If you're 6'3" and over, back of the room.
Wow.
It's a good seat from anywhere when you're up there in the treetops.
I mean, Dave's taller than 6'3", I imagine. 6'7".
I'm 5. Yeah.
6'5".
Yeah. I used to be before my back surgeries. I might be 6'4" now.
Crawling's getting shorter.
Yeah, that's right.
31 in 10 years.
I need to get my dad and you to stand next to each other because my dad's 5'5".
Okay.
Shout out to Randy. Staying out of trouble.
Well, gentlemen, let's cut this
go,
short. Yeah. Let's get her done. Let's call it. If anybody's got anything, let's throw it out there. If not, let's get done rambling. Now, people listening probably done shutting us down. So
y'all be good. Go shoot your bows.
Go shoot them. Get on the line. Greg, thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys having me on here. Thanks for the invite, Neil. Like I said, Neil didn't want me to do this, but this guy loves archery more than anybody that I've ever met. He's doing with a good support cast. He's doing, him and Bryn Chapman and Haskell, the guys involved, the Roberts family, and probably a whole cast of other people that I don't know about are doing great things for the state of Oklahoma. Archery is growing, in great proportions. So just to let everybody listening know, Neil is doing some, with help, is doing some amazing stuff with archery. So we all appreciate it. You're giving us a place to be able to execute our hobbies, take care of our mental health, shoot our bows, all that stuff.
I think his screen froze up on him. I think he did sign off. Oh, that booger. Look at what he did. He got out of here. He was tearing up, Greg. That's what we're going to call it, okay?
Yeah, crybaby.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you, Dave.
You bet, Greg. Take care.
Take care.